McGee is the VP of Education for our club and a self-proclaimed evangelist for agile learning. Today he will be presenting a speech entitled, "We Are All in Sales Now." We are all in sales now. Join McGee.
Fellow learners, thank you very much. I'd like to start by asking the question, are salespeople born or made? Michael, are salespeople born or made?
They're made.
Jason, born or made?
They can be made.
Giuseppe, born or made?
I'd say made.
Nicole, born or made?
I'm an Aquarius, so I'm going to say both.
Fantastic. And this is an exercise to think about the foundation that I'll give. A quick timeline looking at the sales role over the last 100 years. 1900, 2000, 2014. And I propose that sales has changed as much over the last 100 years as it has in the last 10. Little delta for change. And with this rapid change in sales and the business environment, things have really changed. Over time, 1 in 9 professionals have been involved in sales. Even through this rapid change and introduction to the internet, we still have 1 in 9 people are involved in sales. This is true in the Americas and globally. What's new is that with entrepreneurs, elasticity, which means people wearing multiple hats, with a low barrier of entry for sales, now we have the average business worker in America now spends 40% of their working time in sales or non-sales related selling. In Daniel H. Pink's book, recently I read, titled "To Sell is Human," we learn that for humans, the ability to move others and exchange what they have for what we have is fundamentally human. And so back to my initial question, are salespeople born or made? I apologize, it's a bit of a trick question. Because we're all human, we are all born salespeople. And it's part of our human nature. However, the more interesting question is, are great salespeople born or made? And I argue that great salespeople have to be made by what I see as the definition of a great salesperson, and that's somebody who develops themselves. You cannot be a great salesperson unless you develop yourself. In Daniel H. Pink's book, To Sell is Human, he outlines a lot of what has changed over the last 100 years and what is relevant today in sales. Traditionally, we have the sales additive A, always. B, C, closing. Sound familiar? A, always. B, C, closing. This worked traditionally when information was held by the seller and the situation was buyer beware. Today, with the internet and availability of information and comparative information, it is an environment of seller beware, where this additive is broken and no longer works. The new ABCs of selling and the skills that we have to develop to be good at sales and moving people are A, attunement. B, buoyancy. C, clarity. And I'll address each one and describe what they mean. Attunement has to do with empathy, mimicking your power level that you have with the people that you are selling or serving to. Buoyancy has to do with sales is often described as a sea of rejection. And without buoyancy, you will either sink, or without proper buoyancy grounding you and negative doubt, which keeps you in check, you will fly off and away and be ungrounded. Another point about buoyancy that I'd like to make is that the old skill of self-affirmation is not necessarily the best way to keep yourself buoyant, but self-questioning has hidden powers and has more powers than self-questioning. In preparation for this speech, somebody asked if I was ready. I said, no, I'm overwhelmed and underprepared. They had something positive to say back to that, and they said, make a self-affirmation, you can do this. And I said, excellent point. Thank you for the perspective. What I should be asking myself is, can I do this? Ask yourself, can I do this? And then have a discussion with yourself about, why do I know I can do this? I've had success before. I know how to organize. I have good resources. I have a good mentor. These are the reasons why I can do this. This gives you buoyancy and keeps you grounded. Clarity. Clarity lets you make sense in a complicated situation. In clarity, we learn that not only is problem solving important, but problem finding. In a recent study, they surveyed people in academia and a list of skills they most desire in their employees, and problem solving was listed as number one. They went to the same business level executives and asked them, and problem finding was listed as number one. So more important than just solving problems today is to find and frame problems. So in conclusion, to sell is fundamentally human, and more we are all in sales or non-sales roles now. Non-sales selling roles. And as humans, we are part of organizations, families, and communities. And we have the potential to move others we interact with to part with resources in exchange for something that is more valuable. I want you all to ask yourself, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on how good you are at developing your sales skills? And then have a discussion with yourself about why did I not choose a lower number? Thank you very much.